Okay, guys, this is podcast number 3. Have Mr. V. Van Ryan Van Sanford on. He won a WPT main event this year. I don't know if you call it a main event, but for like infinity dollars, he won in Jacksonville. Um, and yeah, I think he's a pretty interesting, cool guy, and I think you'll enjoy it. Uh, so yeah, Ryan, I guess I don't know that much about your poker career other than you binking. So I guess can you start with that?
Yeah. Hello, by the way. It's not that interesting. I don't know. Started out playing home games like everyone else with my friends. In high school, I was like 17. I play like the occasional like the bar tab poker they had, and crushed those. I always thought poker was cool. Moved up, put like $30 on merge. This was post Black Friday because I'm quite young.
Yep.
So I never really experienced much of that. So I grew up in merge, sort of ran that up, then ran it back down after I thought I was the greatest.
Yeah.
Got backed, got some coaching that really helped me out. Had a few scores, moved to Florida, ran good in some live stuff, and here we are.
Cool. What's it like winning a WPT? That's like sort of semi on like my poker career bucket list. You have to do it.
I don't know if there's not really words, but yeah, I mean it's very very cool. Obviously, it almost feels fake because you just have to run so good. Like it almost feels like it doesn't count because you just have to run like stupid good to win like a WPT.
Yeah.
So it's weird. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed.
And how much did you cash for? I mean, I'm sure you don't mind me asking, right? It's like public record.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It was about 400 plus a 15K seat for their championship.
Cool. That must have been a fun tourney. That's like the one live tourney that I never got to play. That I always like marked on my calendar every year and wanted to play.
Also mixed. It was definitely cool, but again, I don't really have like a big ego about this kind of stuff. I'd rather just play a lot easier stuff.
Don't like to dick swing.
Yeah, not at all. I much would rather just take it 15K.
Fair enough. I kind of like to dick swing from time to time.
Yeah, it's not me.
They used to have these 5K winner take alls on PokerStars, and I'd like beg my backers every week to play it. I either won it or got second once though, so subtle brag. If I did win, I don't remember.
Second would be for $0, right?
Yeah, second would be $0.
So you're like flipping for anyone to be a brag.
Yeah, flipping on the brag. So you're in Vegas. What's that like other than you losing all the time?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's like. I don't know, it just feels like a new tournament every day. It's cool. A lot of people I know. There's 5 tournaments a day at different casinos.
Are you able to so you're able to play multiple ones per day because of late reg?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay. Because I was looking, I thought they all kind of started at the same time, and then late reg ended like 2 to 4 hours in.
I mean, yeah, you could definitely play. You could get 2 tournaments in a day. Yeah, pessimistically, I guess.
3.
Yeah. Especially in like the Rio, the World Series of Poker, you don't start with that many chips. I mean, like the 1Ks, you start at like 5K at 25.50, which I mean, it's not that inconceivable. You could just bust first hand and do nothing wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. They upped the stack sizes. Back in the day, it was just like 3x the buy-in was your starting.
Yeah, it's 5x now, and people keep saying me, I don't know how good I have it.
That's funny. Any crazy Vegas stories, hookers, drugs, crazy partying stories, or gambling, flipping for lots of money?
We did $20 PLO flips last night on Twitch.
Nice.
That was fun. I don't know. That's about it. I'm a pretty relaxed person. I don't do that a lot of crazy stuff. Just been kind of playing tournaments and not winning.
Yeah, I haven't partaken in any of the shenanigans at the WSOP.
I've been very excited about all the escape rooms in Vegas, though.
Escape rooms? What's that?
Okay, they're cool. You get it's a new fad. They're growing. You get locked in a room for an hour and solve clues and puzzles to escape.
Okay.
Very similar to the online escape games. I don't know if you ever played those.
I haven't, but that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, they made them in real life, and they're awesome. Vegas has a bunch.
Is this just a thing this year? Because I've never seen that.
It's growing. It sort of started out last year. I think there were about 100 in the U.S. last summer, around in different cities, and now it's projected by the end of the year there'll be 300.
Huh. Yeah, I wouldn't think a thing like that would be big in Vegas, except for geeky guys like us.
Okay, sorry, the phone's ringing.
Okay, back. So, alright, what are these problems like? Do they range in difficulty? I assume they're pretty difficult.
Some of them are, some of them aren't. They definitely have different rooms for different difficulties. It's really hard to describe without just doing it.
Okay, so it's not word puzzles, it's actual things you have to do with your hands, basically.
Sometimes it can be a mix of both or one or the other. It's just always different puzzles and different clues. And I've been trying to do these everywhere I travel for poker, and it's been sort of my hobby lately.
That sounds pretty cool. I've never done one of them, but I'd definitely try it out.
There's probably one in a city near you. They're cool.
Okay. You say that very matter-of-factly.
It's escaperoomdirectory.com.
Okay, I'll check it out. Have you been chilling with any of the TP guys?
Yeah, that's what I was doing PLO flips with last night.
I assume Mark and Big
Mark,
Dog.
Mark's out, actually. He was bagging a tournament. But Killing Bird and some others.
Cool.
Yeah, they have a house 2 minutes away from me, so I stop by occasionally, say hello.
Okay. Do you have a
drinks? Oh, the phone's ringing again. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. Alright, we're back. Okay, yeah, Ryan had some kind of problem with his internet. We were supposed to start 40 minutes ago, but hotel keeps calling him about it, I assume? Something like that?
Yeah, they want more money, is what they decided.
I see.
Yeah.
Seems like good business.
Yeah, it's great.
Are you staying at the Rio, by the way?
Palm's place. It's 2 minutes away.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I guess big reason I had you on is we seem very interested in all the same things.
Yeah, definitely some cool things.
So yeah, I guess what have you been reading about, or what has you what are you pretty excited about right now?
It's dark. It's pretty dark. AI, I guess.
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot about AI.
Yeah.
And it's looking scary.
It's pretty scary. So.
It's very concerning.
What are the projections for when AI would meet up with a human, be on par with human intelligence?
Yeah. Singularity.
Yes, the singularity.
I don't know. There's a lot of numbers that I think people are just kind of guessing. I think it's pretty conceivable that it's 20 to 50 years or something.
See, well, I think it's likely we're just going to kind of merge with robotics kind of before then. which I think
Yeah.
would be pretty interesting. Like, I think there's even like, bionic limbs or like eyesight as well. Is there like a thing like that for blind people or something?
Yeah, I think I saw that. I don't know a lot about it, but that sounds familiar. And it raises a bunch of like cool questions that are also scary to answer, and nobody will answer before it's too late. Like, what is a human? And what is consciousness?
Alright, so drop some AI knowledge on us, because I guess for the people who don't know too much about AI or haven't read too much into it, like, I guess kind of explain why it's scary and all that shit.
Yeah. Okay. There was a really, really good article on waitbutwhy.com, which is now my new favorite website, that it really laid out the details perfectly. I'm not so good at this kind of thing, but I guess it's looking bad. It's inevitable that it happens that an AI will meet up with human level intelligence, and then once that happens, it can teach itself to learn. And when an AI can teach itself to learn, it's exponential. That the learning process is exponential, and all of a sudden it can learn way faster than us. And all of a sudden, in an hour, it could reach IQ level 12,000 or whatever, which is a scary thought, because we would be basically obsolete, and we don't know what something IQ level 12,000 is going to do, like kill us all, or not even worry about us, or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's like a point where it's like the distance between when one computer becomes as smart, like reaches singularity, and then like just a computer being smarter than like the entire human race. I guess that's like the whole entire human race combined. I think that that's a point it's gonna reach like relatively quickly after singularity as well.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thought.
Yeah, scary shit, dude. It's gonna be
Yeah,
like Terminator.
I know. And I keep telling people this, and they kind of just like shrug me off, like whatever. That's some Terminator bullshit. Which it's not. It's real. It's scary.
So you think our two options are either we blow ourselves up, nuclear war, or we're slaves to robots?
No, those are not the two options. Those are definitely likely ones. Slaves seems unlikely. I don't know why they would enslave us.
Yeah.
We don't seem that useful. I mean, killing us all seems way more likely. Or, I mean, if we do it right, immortality seems like a possibility. But yeah, it's pretty much those three options.
How can we reach immortality?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have.
What's like how does like how does like a computer reaching singularity, like how does that help?
I guess anything is possible because we're humans. We can't imagine anything.
Yeah.
So it seems like a distant possibility just because it can't be impossible. A robot itself or an AI, I guess. I'm not sure why it would, but I mean, I wouldn't be sure why it would do anything.
I mean, perhaps the robots just want to be like super nice, and they're just really hippies and just really into Zen, and
Yeah, it could be like,
and they just help us like,
for it not to do that.
huh?
We have no reason for that not to happen.
Yeah, we'll just like hardwire program into them, just like Alan Watts talks about like peace and love. Okay, so AI, yeah, pretty cool stuff. Elon Musk and what was that thing you tweeted out or you Facebooked out? The hyper. Hey, back.
Okay. Where we cut out.
Yeah, I was like saying some random shit about like hardwiring in like Alan Watts or whatever. Not sure where you left off.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I was apologizing on my own that if you're really well versed in this, no way more, and I sound like an idiot. I apologize. It's just something I've been interested in lately.
I don't know that much more. I read The Singularity is Near and watched the documentary by Race Kurzweil.
Yeah, I haven't watched or read either of those things.
But it's just not something I know that much about. I just find it's just one of those things that I find pretty interesting, but know very little about, basically.
Me as well. It's also probably my number one concern, especially because Elon Musk says it's his probably biggest concern.
If he says it's bad, then
it's bad.
We gotta listen.
Yeah.
The dude's my hero.
Me as well. He's a cool dude.
I think a thing people don't know about him is a thing you put it on Facebook that just blew my mind. What's his newest crazy invention thing he's doing?
The Tesla, like the power wall.
Power pack, yeah, power wall.
Power pack. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so the whole power pack idea is like, I guess it's just this battery that anyone can kind of buy, and you put it on your wall, and it just runs it powers up during the day and uses batteries at night.
Yeah, it's solar powered, but it's I guess it's stronger than like traditional solar power. We've gotten to that point where it's finally like usable.
Yeah, so you can buy this right now, have it shipped to you in a few months, and have it on your house, and not ever need to pay for power again.
Correct. Yeah, and it's cheap too. I mean, I think it's like $3,000 or something.
Yes, and he open sourced all the technology, so anyone can come along, just steal like all his ideas.
Yeah, I mean, it's just incredible. And those are things where I think, oh, we have a chance.
Yeah, I thought Wait But Why, that site you're talking about, was all about climate change.
It's not. That Elon Musk article was the first time it's ever talked about it, I believe.
Okay, so they just talk about a whole bunch of different articles and shit?
It's just cool articles that they take that are kind of seem complicated and they make a little bit simpler.
Okay.
Really cool website. My new favorite one.
I don't have any cool websites. Like, I just end up going on Twitter and Facebook and wasting my life, hoping someone posts something cool.
That was me pretty recently.
So...
There's a great article on the Fermi Paradox. You know what that is?
No, what's the Fermi Paradox?
It's fun. It's, I guess, the question... I mean, I don't know how to go into the math because I'm not smart enough, but I mean, it's astronomically likely that there's other life out there in the universe. Like, the numbers point to yes by a lot, like an inconceivable number.
Okay.
And I mean, in the paradoxes, why haven't we seen anything, any signs of life?
Well, have you ever seen Ancient Aliens? Duh.
No, I haven't.
You haven't seen Ancient Aliens?
No, I haven't seen Ancient Aliens.
Do you smoke weed?
Not very much. Almost never.
You should smoke weed and watch Ancient Aliens. Basically, it's like all these ideas of why they think aliens have visited Earth before, thousands of years ago, and helped humans along. A lot of it's like focused on ancient Egypt and how they built these pyramids to like insane precision that we couldn't even do today. How they moved like multiple ton rocks without any tools or anything like that. They would cut like perfect lines into really hard stone that copper tools can't cut into. And basically a whole bunch of stuff like that. They point to stuff in the Bible that talks about these fuck, I'm gonna butcher this, like, I don't know, there's like references to the Bible or something like that, and they're kind of like reading it as aliens. It's not the most like logically sound thing, but they also have like some. It's also just they put up like decent enough evidence to like actually entertain you. Um,
I mean, it sounds interesting. I don't know how convincing it sounds, but
uh,
entertaining is a good word.
it's you won't be like, oh, there's definitely aliens, like, you know. But it's definitely like kind of just fun and like interesting to think about. If you're like, I mean, what they say just isn't like completely illogical. I'm sure some of it's like not factual or wrong. I'm sure a lot of it's wrong, but it's definitely really interesting. Have you have you ever watched like a Joe Rogan podcast where he has like Graham Hancock on, and Graham Hancock talks about how impossible it is to like make the pyramids. How no one can do it now.
I've never seen that, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool because they had to get these stones from a quarry that was like thousands of miles away, and they didn't have any like technology or anything like that. Every stone is like to build a pyramid. If you're off by like a centimeter on one of the bricks, like that's gonna fuck up like everything. Like if you're off by like a centimeter at the bottom, like that's just gonna like fuck up everything apparently. But they've like got it down to like perfect precision. I keep saying, I mean, I could be wrong about this. That's the whole idea on it. And nobody knows how it's done yet. Mainstream archaeologists aren't really sure how they did it. They don't feel like they could replicate it, and Rogan believes it's aliens, and so does guys like Graham Hancock and George Tsoukalos and stuff.
That's an interesting thought.
So yeah, there's another people called the Anunnaki or something like that, which you could kind of Google. It's about like these ant people or something that they described them on because ancient aliens explains it as maybe they had these helmets on that with like antennas sticking out, so they thought they were ant people. Um, I don't know. It's pretty interesting, but it's one of those topics that I know very little about, but I think it's pretty cool, and I think the idea that we might have been visited by aliens isn't impossible.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Fermi's Paradox. Why haven't we been visited by aliens, and what else?
Okay. Yeah. So that's the paradox is why not why haven't we been visited, but why haven't we seen signs of life?
I see.
And there's a lot of like fun and like sort of I guess wacky solutions to it. I mean like we're in a giant zoo cage and you know like people are watching us from the outside and they have a strict like look but don't touch rule or I mean a billion others. The world is your oyster with this. It's fun to read about because there's just like a lot of solutions. And there's some more sane ones as well. There's like two camps, I guess.
Okay.
There's this idea that life is like incredibly difficult to create.
Okay, which makes sense.
Yeah, and I guess there's some sort of filter that stops it, and I guess from a lot of people's perspective, if we found like life on Mars or something, if we found life that was close, that would mean it wasn't very difficult to create. And that would mean we were before this like great filter that's happened, which would be very bad for humanity in their opinion.
Yeah, so if there was life in our universe, that would be. I mean, our universe is just like isn't it just like a grain of sand on a beach, basically?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if even that metaphor does it justice.
Yeah, so it's just extremely unlikely. If we found one in our universe, another race in our universe, I think it would just. That would mean it would just be there'd be life all over the place, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be very bad for us in most people's opinion. It would basically mean doom.
Yeah. Did you have you this is kind of a tangent, but have you went to college,
No,
graduated? No.
I never went to college.
Okay, so did you graduate high school?
I did graduate high school, barely.
Cool. Um, any plans after poker?
No plans right now. It's all up in the air. I could see myself I mean, conceivably doing something else by next year, or playing poker for the next 10 years. It's really all over the place.
Cool. What is like some of your ideas of things you'd want to do?
Uh, that I don't know.
Okay. No,
Almost no idea.
no ideas, no interest, no like specific interest.
I mean, maybe being a teacher in high school or something. Eventually,
Don't teach in high school, please. Please don't do it.
yeah, I'm not even sure if I want to do that. And that's something you're interested in education a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I'm like being completely serious about not teaching high school unless things just change a bunch. It's just you're kind of forced to just teach to the test, you know?
Right.
And, and it just kind of constrains how you have to teach, and it's I don't know, it's all about like facts and memorization, and it's like I don't know, I think it's pretty lame to be honest.
Uh, I could see myself going to school and doing some weird business thing that I don't even know exists right now.
Yeah, so the only way I would teach in high school if things changed drastically differently, like if the student actually had a say in what was being learned, like it was actually some kind of discussion rather than this is what we've been teaching for the past 100 years, so we're gonna continue to do so. Like some,
Interesting.
yeah, some like 100 or so years ago, like some people at the universities were like, this is what people need to learn at this age, and when you're 8 you learn this, when you're 9 you learn this, and these classes are for college, these classes are for high school, and that's how it goes. And since then it hasn't really changed. And our educational system is really closely modeled to the Prussian education system, which was very openly about keeping their citizens stupid and conforming to the way they wanted. You know, they wanted a, they wanted, they wanted a society that would just conform to like the government's laws. So they just wanted to keep them stupid, which is a pretty good strategy. Um, so our model of education is very similar to theirs. So yeah, it's not very good. I'm not giving like any I'm not saying that the government's trying to keep the populace stupid, but they're very closely related, the two, and and I find that pretty interesting. um, so yeah, it's just not something I would recommend you entering into unless things change drastically, which they aren't, because at least not for a while, just because everyone has their lobbyists in like the textbook industry. The people who make the tests and the textbooks, they are multi billion dollar companies with huge amounts of power. And they don't want to do away with standardized testing and all that stuff. They want to maintain the status quo because they're just printing monies. So I don't see it changing too quickly.
Okay, so I won't be a high school teacher. Let's check that off.
Yeah, you could check that off the list. Don't do it. Please.
It's looking more towards get better at poker.
Yeah, do you study a bit? What's your study sessions like?
Not as much as I should. I mean, especially the last few months, I've been just really lazy about everything.
Uh, I say this a lot, but I don't believe in the word lazy. Like,
Wow.
what does that even mean? Like, I feel like if someone's in a good mood, if someone has something they're interested in working on and feel like they can be effective working on it, like, is that person just like, oh, I don't feel like doing it right now? Like, I'm gonna be lazy?
Okay, I guess selfish is a better word then. To like the present me, do the more fun thing and play like a live bird or take a nap or whatever.
Yeah, I guess selfish is the word. I mean, I'm more talking about it in bigger scopes. I get frustrated when people call themselves lazy or they call other people lazy. I just don't think that is a thought process or a mindset. I think it's just a collection of bad and like low energy, low motivation, low confidence, or just a lack of fun. Like just finding studying just really boring. And I think it's just that. I think most people find studying poker really fucking boring. Um,
Uh, I guess it's not that it's boring, more that it's difficult for me anyway. I don't know about other people. I mean, I think it's interesting, but it's just it's overwhelmingly difficult.
yeah, so that's a big problem too, is managing the difficulty. So when I'm coaching someone, it's very tricky to manage the difficulty level because you can kind of tweak it up or down, depending on what you think is correct. So a problem is people approach problems that are super difficult. Like I would do sessions with a guy who doesn't understand post-flop that well, but he wants to like learn GTO and like understand exactly what their opponent's doing. And it's just like we get nowhere. This is really difficult. Um, so I think there's a step-by-step process kind of to everything. Um, so can you give me an example of something you would find difficult? Like something you perhaps tried to study in the past month or two that you found difficult?
Well, I mean, lately I've been playing some like tougher opponents, and I've definitely just been thinking more about like GTO things, and I don't know how to like I don't know how to play GTO whatsoever.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to play GTO if either one is just like you know how to use CREV, which makes things quite easier, or two, you have a very good understanding of how to actually how to play like every single hand. Like I don't even discuss GTO with people unless the question of how do I play this hand in like 99% of spots is just really easy because they know what to do. Um, so and to answer that question, I guess is you kind of need a pretty deep understanding of first how to put your opponent on ranges, which I assume you're pretty good at ranging people, understanding, and then
Still,
there's different levels of ranging people. I mean, you can understand like range on range, equity versus equity type stuff, how well he hits the board. Then there's like the other level, like understanding future streets, being able to plan ahead on the flop, like what's gonna happen on the turn and river, or even plan ahead pre-flop, what's gonna happen on the flop, turn and river. Being able to effectively do that. And then like the next level would be, in my opinion, is being able to compare the options. So it's like you have a you have two decisions on the flop, right? It's usually better check or raise or call. Fold is there's no future streets, right? So the next level would be, yeah. So comparing those two options and understanding his range in all those spots. If you bet or if you check, say for example, let's say you have a simple c bet spot. Better check. Being able to understand his range when you better check. How's the hand going to play when you check? How's the hand going to play when he bets? Analyzing both of those at the same time and deciding what's best. Being able to plan for the future streets of both lines, betting and checking simultaneously, um, and analyzing what's better. And once you get to the point where that becomes pretty easy, I think you could go to GTO, in my opinion. Or you
So I guess as an example of how lazy or selfish I've been, I like completely just zoned out for most of that.
okay.
And like I couldn't even help. I couldn't even help it. Like my mind just started wandering because that's what I do.
I assume what I was saying was pretty disconnected then.
Maybe it's probably me.
um, Basically, I was saying you have to learn like quite a lot of things before you go to GTO, or you need to just ask simpler questions regarding
Right.
it.
That I understand.
So there's like comparing options, future streets, like understanding that pretty well. Or it's like you could just ask simpler questions regarding it, like how can I play this hand in a way my opponent won't expect? Or what will my opponent expect when I do this? And how can I exploit that? That's like a kind of a cool way to approximate GTO. It's kind of like a cool intuitive way.
Yeah, that I understand. It makes sense to me. I guess. I mean, really, I've been having issues because I guess I've just grown up in like a live tournament mentality where like people are just not playing tough, and I can just play like a super exploitative strategy and like win every tournament.
Yeah, I think if you just get good at like understanding what your opponent expects you to do with certain hands and then figuring out how to exploit that expectation, that's kind of a good way to get there. I think that's like a good first step, basically. Um, I think playing versus good players a lot is another good way as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think you should do like straight number crunching, like counting combos type of stuff if you find it really boring, basically.
yeah, I've watched like a few run at once videos where people pulled out like Card Runners EV and like immediately just zoned out. I couldn't even.
Yeah, so thing is, like, I bet Phil Ivey. I mean, he's talked with a lot of great players, but I bet he could like approximate GTO if he wanted to. If he was playing against a really good player, I bet he could play pretty close to GTO. You know, and I bet that
That's
was
a good example.
I bet that was before he did any calculations, or I don't even know if he knows how to do calculations. You know, I don't. I doubt he's like sitting there counting combos and like mathematically breaking this down, right?
There's no shot.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's more than one road to like the holy grail GTO. It's kind of just being able to carve out your own road, find your own way of doing it. His way was kind of just he's really observant and really good at learning from playing great players. So, plays a lot of great players, talks with a lot of great players, and learns that way. You know.
I like that.
Yeah, so just finding like your niche. I think it's really hard to be like everyone kind of wants to be the mathy guy because they watch Sam Greenwood and like Sauce and making these crazy vids and doing this shit. Like, oh, I need to do that to be great. It's like, no, you kind of just need to do you and figure it out from there. Like, figure out what that is and do that really well.
This is motivating.
Yeah, so if you had like a really cool way that works like to your skill advantages, you would absolutely work on it. Like if you had something you could work on that wasn't too hard, wasn't too easy, was lined up with your skills and was with a friend, like you would absolutely do it.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Finding that out is kind of hard though. Like, what are you like good at? Which is a weird question for people. Like when I ask them, but what are you good at in poker?
In poker?
Yeah,
Um,
especially for humble guys. Like it's very difficult.
exploiting fish.
Exploiting fish. All right. How so?
I just think I don't know. I have a really good feel for what kind of mistakes they're gonna make and how to profit from those.
Okay. is it more of like a psychological thing or intuitive type of thing?
I
Observant?
think intuitive. I think as a person, I'm like a very intuitive person and very feel based.
Hmm.
Just as a person before we even get into poker.
Yeah.
So I think it transfers over into poker, and I think those are my strengths.
Okay, so is it like you're watching what you kind of just watch what people have done and figured out what they're doing wrong and can think about how to beat them after that?
Yeah, I guess.
So you can do stuff like playing against pretty good players, obviously, but that's like very expensive.
Yeah, it's not that fun and kind of expensive.
A cool thing to do is watch. I think a thing you might enjoy is like watching people play heads up and figuring out how you would beat them.
Yeah, actually, I've played almost no heads up poker at all. But the other day there was like a $500 heads up tournament,
Hmm.
and I just fired it like just because it sounded fun. And yeah, I actually really enjoyed it. And because it was like a smaller buy-in, I mean the players weren't very tough, so I thought it was a lot of fun, and I got to think a lot more.
Yeah, you could play heads up, or you could just watch a really good player play heads up and think about what mistakes he's making, or what he's doing well, or maybe implementing shit that he's doing. You could play heads up versus a friend and do shit like tell them. You could tell them what your range is in spots. I don't. You have to be. This might be kind of hard, but you could just play heads up versus them, and that would be interesting, because you would see like how like you could kind of see how he's exploiting you, or you could ask like what he thinks your range is in spots after hands or during hands, and like how he thinks he's exploiting you, and kind of go back and forth and tweak your ranges together.
Yeah, I think that sounds awesome.
So yeah, you should just do stuff like that. Like that's what I do with intuitive guys and with geeky mathy guys. We just break shit down, basically.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. That sounds awesome. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I think that should be an easy question for people. Like nobody thinks about how to optimize their study. Everyone wants to optimize their poker.
Yeah, it's just especially because I've been just playing like a lot of live tournaments and sort of being, I mean, like I said, pretty lazy. I just haven't been thinking about studying at all the last few months.
Yeah, no one like reviews their study sessions. Like, hey, what went wrong here? There's like, oh, it's boring. Like, I can't change that. You know, it's like it's like a fixed thing. You can't change.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, I would recommend reviewing your studies and seeing what went wrong, what went right, what was interesting, was it too challenging, too hard, how can you fix that? Same way you would review a poker session. So somehow this went into like a poker studying thing, which is
Yeah, we're really bad at staying on topic.
that's hard. I don't like people to stay on topic. It's not my
Yeah,
thing.
I apologize if you're listening, and this is just complete rambling, and you're not interested.
um, so yeah, you said how did we get here? I asked you what did you want to do, and teacher was one of them. And then I got mad
Yeah,
because you wanted to be a teacher.
yeah.
I went into a spiel how I hate education. I hate college even more, by the way, because it's
Yeah.
just like these private businesses that don't care that care a lot more about profits than making money. Um, that's a whole other story. But I can get into that if you want to. But what are your other career paths that you're thinking about?
Yeah, I don't really know. Some sort of private business that I'd figure out in the next couple of years. And
That's not vague at all.
it is very. I told you I don't know.
Cool. I mean, when I was 21, I didn't have any other interests besides poker, to be fair. Like, I didn't know there was a world outside of poker. as far as I was concerned, there was nothing outside of poker. I didn't know anything. It wasn't until like Black Friday hit that I said, "Oh, I guess I have to learn something else now."
Yeah, I'd say I'm almost the opposite. Like, I know there's a world, and I'm interested in it. I just don't know how to navigate it.
And
Yeah.
it's difficult when you're 21 and you're really into poker and you're pretty successful at poker to just do anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of just want to have the social life, and obviously too.
It's really weird now. Like, after a year of live proing, it's like all my friends are poker players. I mean, I don't really know anything else.
Yeah. How are you balancing between this? Are you just playing a bunch, or you have days off, or what's the deal?
This summer,
Yeah.
I haven't been doing it that well. I've been taking probably too many days off. I've been, again, pretty lazy about it. I should be playing a lot more, I think. I've been just sort of hanging out and taking naps and stuff. I take a lot of naps.
Naps are good. They're underrated for sure. Well, how many naps are you talking though?
Not actually nap. I mean, I sleep a lot.
Okay.
I end up sleeping till like 3 p.m. most days or something if I don't like check myself.
Okay, so yeah, your bio says you hate onions and you sleep a lot.
Yeah.
What?
So much good about it.
Wait, you can't just say. How many different varieties of onion have you tried?
I get asked that every single time. Like, but do you like the caramelized, like, super cooked ones? You would like those. Yeah. I mean, they're better than like a raw onion, but I don't know. Like, I'd rather not have them.
Purple onions. You ever had purple onions?
I don't know that I've actually had a purple.
You have to have purple onions, like the GTO onion, as Chicago Joey would say.
I don't know. I hate onions.
Everyone just tries to convince you to eat onions.
Yeah, this happens all the time.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're playing how many days a week? Just like 2 or 3 or something?
I mean, I go in waves. I mean, like, I was planning on playing today, actually, and I ended up just using this podcast as an excuse to, like, sleep in and not do that.
I see. You seem like a very non-scheduled, go with the flow kind of dude.
I think I am for sure, but I think if I get scheduled, I think I'm a lot more productive. But it has to be, like, very... I have to have short-term goals.
Well, I imagine you're just very laid back and there's not much stress involving any of this, though.
Not exactly. I'm a very, very heavy procrastinator, so it's almost like unearned laid backness.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel just. It feels like I stole it. And most of the time, like, wow, I'm not doing anything, but I really should do that thing, but I'm not going to.
Okay, so you feel bad about a lot of your leisure time?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, so what shit do you procrastinate on? Just everything?
I mean, you wouldn't even imagine. How long did it take us to get this podcast?
About a week.
Yeah, more. Yeah, it really is everything. Like, even, like, going to sleep at night, I, like, put it off for an hour at a time. I spend more time than anyone will ever know just, like, pacing.
Just pacing?
Yeah, I pace, and I don't know why. It's something I grew up with.
Are you pacing and thinking about something? Or, like, planning, or you're just pacing?
Either or. Sometimes, yeah, I'll be pacing and thinking about how tomorrow I'm gonna, like, do all this stuff. I need to, like, go to the gym and the bank. And it took me 2 weeks to go to the bank. I, like, had run out of cash, which you need to play poker tournaments. And so I was, like, turning to, like, borrowing money from my friends for 2 weeks, going to the bank because despise going there. And then I finally went, and it was Sunday, and it was closed. I still haven't gone.
You still haven't gone to the bank?
No, I still haven't gone.
Why do you hate the bank? It's just the bank.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's a process. Like, it takes a lot of work to, like, grab a bunch of cash, and then, I don't know, they look at you like, who the fuck is this kid, and why does he need, like, $20,000 to play poker tournaments?
Yeah, I guess that's pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah. And then, like, the last time I was there, there was, like, a long line of people, and I was standing in line to, like, make a withdrawal, and the guy who works for the bank, like a clerk, was like, oh, if you want, you can use this ATM for, like, up to $3,000. And I just, like, looked at him and, like, slightly shook my head, like, it's not enough.
I mean, I guess it's kind of dangerous as well. You carry around.
And I mean, I'm a pretty small dude. If you wanted to steal from me, you would just probably have to ask.
Fair enough. You should get, like, Big Dog and Mark and Derek to take you.
Yeah, I guess. I will go to the bank soon.
You will go to the bank soon?
Yeah, I have to. I can't keep borrowing money.
I think you're allowed to just be really fucking lazy when you're 21 and just have a bunch of money. Like, why do you want to set all these parameters on yourself?
That's fair, but I guess I do get concerned because I have literally no other skills. So, like, if I ever went broke, it'd be really bad.
Is that like your main worry? You just want other skills, basically?
Or to not go broke. I don't know. I know that if I ever went broke, it'd be very, very bad because I don't have anything else.
Fair enough. Why don't you, like, I don't know, it seems like a lot of the stuff you procrastinate about doesn't seem that important, like, given your situation.
That's probably fair. I've read chapter 1 of so many books. I'm like, I mean, I'm on chapter 1 of, like, 7 different books, I think.
Yeah.
Again, pretty inconsequential.
Yeah, I go through that a lot. Just, you have so many things that you're interested in, and it's just you want to read about everything and learn everything. You kind of just jump around from thing to thing. One
of the qualities of my, like, Myers-Briggs personality is that you are constantly starting new projects and never finishing any of them.
Yeah, I do absolutely the same thing. Like, I just know little about a lot of things, basically. And I'm trying to change that, because I feel like the optimal way to learn, if you really want knowledge, is just focus on one thing for a week, basically. Like, make your whole...
I think so too.
But it's hard. I did that for the first time like 2-3 weeks ago, but it was actually really beneficial. I spent the whole week just learning about Stoicism.
What is it?
Stoicism? Have you heard about it? Basically, I call it kind of just the philosophy of living, how to be happy.
Oh, okay.
And how to be a good person, basically. So it's just all about breaking down kind of logically and in really cool ways how to react to situations, how to not react to situations, how to live life. I mean, it's so all-encompassing, and what's cool about the book, because it deals with very real situations. So some of the chapters in the book I'm reading is like on, this one chapter is like on discursiveness in reading, which means just jumping from topic to topic. So it's very, like, tangible stuff, and it just goes into why that's bad and how you never really learn anything. You never really learn anything deeply if you're just bouncing around from thing to thing.
Yeah, you're doing the fun thing.
Yeah.
It's like...
So there's one on that. There's ones on, like, dealing with death, dealing with being broke, dealing with bad events. So I mean, if you have some kind of problem in your life, there's a chapter in this book that deals with it, basically.
Sounds like a cool book.
It's by this guy Seneca from, I guess, ancient Rome.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
thousands years ago. He wrote these. He was teaching this guy who's being groomed to be the king of Rome, I think. And it's all the letters he wrote to him, basically. And it's my favorite book of all time. The biggest, hugest impact. There's never been a book that has had a bigger impact on my life than that one.
Yeah, all right. I'll start chapter 1.
Start chapter 1. Um, but yeah, he talks about, so he just talks about focusing on one thing at a time, which is just, it's easier said than done, right?
Of course.
But that's kind of what I've been doing. I mean, I guess I never really realized how bad and inefficient it was just to read like book to book or chapter to chapter or go from podcast to random podcasts, you know? And since I really focused on Stoicism, I went through like basically just really shitty event after shitty event the past 6 weeks. Like, I don't know, probably, I mean, it's kind of been the worst year of my life as far as like events go. Just bad shit happening. And the past 6 weeks has just been really bad. As an example, I have like $0 in my bank account. Slept in a car once. But that's another story. But I've been pretty happy because like the past 6 weeks I've been, I don't know, I've had like actually really happy times, and a lot of stoicism. It probably relates to poker because it deals with it talks about understanding why you shouldn't let events in your life dictate your happiness, and why it's pretty similar to getting really mad at a poker hand. I mean, it's just something you don't have control on. Like, you lost aces to king queen. You know, it's not something you should be complaining about. And it kind of views life the same way. I mean, a lot of the events we don't have control over. All we have some control over is our mind. And basically not cherishing, not being too happy about things that you've gotten as a result of good fortune, he says, or we would say variance, right? And
Yep.
not ever getting too upset about things that bad things that happen to you. And he doesn't just say it like, I don't know, he just really breaks it down in tangible ways that make sense and that are logical, and really makes you understand why you shouldn't feel that way, rather than someone just saying, hey, don't worry, be happy. It's like a fundamental breakdown of why this makes sense and all that shit. So it's a pretty cool book.
That was heavy, but sounds cool.
Yes, lots of words I have spoken. Okay, so yeah, I guess we're at the natural end of this.
I suppose, yeah. I still haven't done my taxes, by the way. I filed an extension.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's going to be bad because last year, I mean, I had like a lot of cashes.
Were you always this like procrastinating before like
Yes.
pre WPT being?
Yeah. I did my senior year of high school. I literally did the whole semester in like the last 2 days. I didn't sleep for 2 days, and like I had to go like walk, and I could barely see because I was so tired.
Yeah.
So,
You got it done though, right?
I did get it done barely. I had teachers telling me like, "Sorry, dude, you're 100% not graduating," and
You still
did not have
graduate.
to go to school the next year.
But you still graduated.
I still graduated. Yeah,
Very well played.
I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the standard thing with people. I mean, I don't procrastinate that hard, but there's some things I procrastinate pretty heavily on.
I don't know. It's tough. I, I spend a lot of energy like wishing I didn't do it. It never feels like good to do it. It's a dark place.
It never feels good to like do these errands. Is that what you're talking about?
No, those always feel good to do.
Oh, okay.
To put them off.
Oh, put them off feels really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be like some reason other than you're lazy as to why you don't do it. I suggest figuring that out.
Okay. Well, sounds like it's gonna take a lot.
Fair enough. Um, all right. Well, I usually end the podcast with like a few basic questions. If you could go back like 5 years, what would be one thing you tell yourself?
5 years.
You only have time for like one sentence though, and then you just like leave.
Man, I don't know if I would get through to myself at all. I don't know. I don't think anything I would say would like matter very much at all.
Okay. That's good enough. Nothing.
Yeah.
That's fine. Favorite book or books?
Favorite book?
How many books have you finished, by the way?
I don't think any. I think I've started a lot.
Okay.
I don't know if I've finished a book in a long time since I used to read a lot when I was like 5th grade, and then I went to middle school or something and just stopped.
Okay, favorite chapter of a book you've read? Or...
Favorite chapter. I really like Tommy Angelo's book, the Rubber Band one. I've read some.
Okay, cool.
There's some very funny stories in that book that I found really good.
Cool. Alright, I guess we'll call it the end of the podcast. Thanks for being on, dude.
Of course, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, keep in touch. Bing some poker tournament.
Hopefully.
Alright, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, later.